very much, Keith. Good morning, everyone. As an aside, I apologize for missing last week. I was foolish enough to make the first turn coming in and went to the wrong building. So that's why I missed last week, and I apologize for that to everyone. The Butler Did It. I know that we always look forward to big events, no matter what they are, whether it's a concert we want to go to, a festival, a circus, a fair, or a big game. And we probably don't have a ton of real basketball fans in this room, but even if you're not a fan, this past spring we were treated to one of the best Final Four championship games of our lifetimes. Go Duke, go Duke. I've been a Duke fan since high school, and I'm from Indiana, and I moved back to Indianapolis for 17 years, and Butler kind of grew on me after a while. So here I was in this situation when the game came around. God, the school that was right around the corner from me, with the people that I knew that went there, and the school that I've loved all this time. So it was a real dilemma, but I held true. I'm a Duke fan, I stay that way, but I honestly felt like whoever wins, I'm going to be happy. It was one of the best games. It truly, truly was. We know that usually when it comes down to the championship game, chances are it's just going to be the average everyday game, right? 3/4 of the way through the game, we're kind of going to know what the outcome is, and it's just going to coast, like most sporting events really, really do. But this didn't happen this time. We were treated to one of the best games of all time. It was the Cristal of basketball. It was the Abe Lincoln of basket sinking, and it was the Rolls Royce of round ball. I'm telling you, it was great all the way through. There wasn't a moment when it got away. And if anyone's ever seen the movie Hoosiers, you kind of know what I'm talking about. You have the David and Goliath story, and it was in so many ways it showed up in this game. It never ever got boring. The biggest lead was 6 points. It never got stretched out. You would think that Duke was going to eventually put that 10 or 12 point run together and get a nice lead, and it would never get close again. And that's what usually happened with Duke this past year. They were great, but they could not get these kids, they could not get distance from these kids. And as the game neared its end, I really started to wax a little bit about the movie Hoosiers, because being from Indiana, I've only seen the movie 80 times or so. Play it constantly on local channels up there. But if you remember, Jimmy Chitwood was the main character of Hoosiers. Well, Hackman was, but Jimmy Chitwood was the basketball player. The story was loosely based on a guy by the name of Bobby Plump, who is still a very active person in the Indianapolis area. And Bobby Plump has a restaurant that's literally two and a half miles away from the Butler campus. So you start to think about that kind of stuff. He played for a little school called Milan in southeastern Indiana. And on their way to the championship in 1954, they knocked off Oscar Robertson's Crispus Attucks. Now, if you don't know who Oscar Robertson, he was one of the greatest basketball players of all time. And he was a local. He got knocked off by this small little school with 161 students, 75 of which were boys. So they didn't have a lot of, large talent to choose from for this basketball team. So they went on to beat Muncie Central, which was the powerhouse of the state, on a last-second shot. And the movie did a pretty good job of paralleling. Of course, the movie added a little extra drama here and there, but the reality was, it was an exciting game, just like what this Duke and Butler game was shaping up to be. And all the real ties, you got the 33-year-old head coach from Butler, who grew up in Zionsville, just 15 miles away from the Butler campus, if that. You have the freshman superstar playing for Butler who grew up in Brownsburg, which is just around the corner from Zion, very close. You've got like I said, the 33-year-old coach versus the 66-year-old coach playing in his 8th championship, 3 of which he'd won previously. So you've got this feeling, but they're doing it in Indiana. It was played in Indianapolis. So you're wondering, is this magic somehow going to materialize? Is it really going to happen? I'm watching this game, it's coming down to the end. There's 5 minutes left. I don't want to get in too much detail about the game, but how it closes is just fantastic. 5 minutes left, and the kid, Brendan Hayward, or not Brendan, Gordon Hayward's driving to the basket, and he gets fouled really hard by one of the Duke players. He smashes into the back of the basket, and the crowd's just standing. The crowd took great umbrage with this play. And for everyone in this world who's ever hated that dominant team just because they're dominant, everybody, all those people united against Duke at that moment. They truly were wearing the black hat again. The dominant team beating up on the little mid-major from Indiana right there in their own backyard. It was really shaping up to be something. And I remember as Hayward hit that stanchion in the bag behind the basket, the camera, God love the camera work, right to Hayward's parents and sister. Is he all right? Is he going to get up? Of course he gets up and you're thinking, oh, is this kid going to be mad? Is he going to step up? He's 18. He's 18 years old and he's on the biggest stage he may ever be on. He may never get on this stage again, but it was fantastic watching this game and watching this one kid particularly perform. He didn't sit out of the game at all. 40 minutes he played. Kyle Singlet for Duke played 40 minutes. They never came out of the game. That's not an easy thing to do. So as the game got down to the end, there were 15 lead changes, and as I said, nobody led by more than 6 points. With 7 seconds left, Hayward drove to the right of the basket, down by 1, I'm sorry, and he launched a little fadeaway shot that just barely clanged off the back of the rim. Duke came down with the ball, 3.6 seconds on the clock. They fouled the guy immediately, so he had to go to the line. Of course, they were lucky. It was Duke's big guy that shoots foul throws with like bricks, right? Can't hit foul throws very easy. 55% free throw shooter. Steps to the line, hits the first one. Now it's a 2-point game. Now, a point of strategy here in basketball, for those of you that don't know, if he sinks that second shot, the clock remains stopped. Butler gets to take a timeout and set up a play with 3.6 seconds left. Stranger things have happened. So Duke decides, well, since if he hits the back of the rim, the clock starts immediately. The ball bounces up in the air. Whoever gets it, gets it. Even if Butler gets the ball, what are the chances they're going to put together something in 3.6 seconds and get down the court and score a basket? It's not very good. So that's the strategy employed. He left the ball up on the basket, bounced it off, 3.6 seconds. Hayward comes down with the ball, of all kids. Hayward's got the ball. He works his way around the big man, gets to half court. His foot, I watched this 5 times last night. His foot was on, I didn't watch the whole game 5 times, just this part. His foot left from half court, and he launches this beautiful rainbow shot, and it's going, and the whole crowd was, and it literally left his hand with 0.1 seconds left on the clock. Literally, 0.1 seconds. And everybody's watching, everybody's in a state of, oh my God, what if this drops? It hits the back of the backboard, it hits the front of the rim, bounces up, and falls outside the basket. Heartbreaker. I mean a true heartbreaker. We almost witnessed a live action Hoosiers right in front of us, right then, right there. But it wasn't meant to be. But Butler really, what did they do? They came from nowhere. They became a very respectable team. And they proved that a small team can show up and can give one of the best college basketball teams the challenge of its life, and the future is really bright for that school. A lot of kids are going to want to go there now. Mr. Toastmaster?